This is Paul Mercer with the Mercer Group at Keller Williams. I'm excited to talk to you about how great it is to live in Tampa. So let's get started. We have had a lot of questions about how much does it actually cost to live in Tampa, and is it still considered affordable? So it's much more affordable than like Miami, New York, California, those type of areas. But as with those areas, housing is probably the largest expense. It's not the bargain it was 10 or 15 years ago, but it's still considered moderately affordable. The average rent in Tampa is somewhere around $2,000 a month, give or take, and the median price is about $443,000. So if you take into account the additional things that would come with housing, should you rent, should you buy, I think it really depends on the situation. Like if you're here short term, maybe renting is the right thing. Not just because I sell real estate, but because I believe in real estate. I always think it's the best long-term gain for people. It's usually the largest part, most expensive asset they own. But you do have to take into account insurance, if the property needs flood insurance, if you're close to the water, HOA fees, CDDs. And some properties may have these and they may not. You may not need flood. It's still a good idea to have it if you don't need it, because houses that aren't in flood zones still flood on occasion, as we found out with some of the hurricanes. So I'd say it's pretty much moderately affordable overall. What else you got?
How expensive is insurance?
That's a good question. Insurance has gone up over the last few years. With their hurricanes, natural disasters and stuff has increased. I've started to see it settle somewhat. I'm seeing homeowners insurance went down, which is great, and I'm hearing that from a lot of people. Some of our research says the average homeowner who is purchasing the medium price home of $440,000 at a 6.4% interest rate, they're going to have a payment somewhere around $225 a month for principal and interest. Then you got to add in taxes and insurance. So you're going to end up somewhere between $2,800 and probably $3,200 a month for a purchase, for a mortgage payment, including all of those things. The good thing is that it's the homestead residence. You get a homestead exemption, which the Florida legislature is talking about increasing. Right now it's $50,000, depending on the price of the home. But you can get up to $50,000 price homestead exemption. And you also will get Save Our Homes, which says basically they can't increase your taxes any more than 3% in any given year. So that's a savings. Plus, Florida has no state income tax, so that's always a plus for people.
So as far as utilities go, how much do those typically cost?
Utilities somewhere between $250 and $350 a month, according to our research. That's electric, water, gas, trash pickup, that thing. So it's not outlandish, but it will change depending on seasonality. Like I'm sure in the northern states in the winter, their heating bills are much higher. While ours in the summer, because it is hot for a longer period of time, the electric may go up because of the air conditioner. But somewhere in that $250 to $350 range is what I would expect.
And what about property taxes? How does that work in Florida?
So the property taxes are based on the assessed value of the home. Okay, and the county property appraiser is the one that does that. And it's based on the millage rate for the area. And they are assessed January 1st and they are due November 1st. You do have a grace period through February the following year, but that's the best time to pay them is in November. That's the cheapest they're going to be.
Is it cheaper to buy or rent?
Well, I think it's definitely cheaper to rent at the moment. But if you're going to looking at long term, like rents do increase over time, right? So every year your rent's going to go up a bit, usually 5-10%. And when you own a property, you have that mortgage, depending on what type of mortgage product you use, but let's just say it's a 30-year fix. Basically every month what your mortgage payment is going to be a year, and you're paying that debt down, and you're capturing the appreciation of the property as it goes up in value. And historically, real estate over the last 40 years has gone up 3 to 4% a year. Obviously, we had some down years and great recession, but ideally you're paying down debt and building it.
What salary do you need to live comfortably in Tampa?
Well, Tampa isn't as affordable as it used to be, but in 2026, the United Way ALICE program stated that a family of 4 needs about $106,000 a year to live comfortably in the Tampa Bay. And you can live for way less, of course, but comfortably, you'd be in that 6-figure mark.
And what surprises most people when they move here?
Traffic. I think that depending on where you're coming from, you may not be used to like CDDs, HOAs, that type of thing. The newer communities, CDD is a community development district, and it's a bond put on by the developer this is my understanding of it, is the bond property, and that gets passed on to the homeowners. And generally they have fairly low HOAs in there, so it offsets a little bit. And the CDD gets paid with the taxes. Still a bill, right? I think the electric bills surprise some people depending on where you're coming from. It wasn't really much of a surprise for me when I moved here. I expected it to be somewhere around that. But every community has different opportunities. Like every community, like West Chase is different from South Tampa, is different from Palm Harbor, is different from Wesley Chapel, is different from Lute. So all these great areas that we live around have different things to offer.
And how many years have you lived in Tampa?
Well, I've been in Tampa since 1988, so it's the longest I've lived anywhere, actually. I grew up in England, came to America, and went to high school in New Jersey. And I love to say my spent youth was on the Jersey Shore. It's not like the show, but it was a ton of fun. And I got stationed here at MacDill and loved it so much that I'm staying if I can do it. Definitely. Everybody comes here on holiday, so I thought it would be a great place to live, and it has turned out to be a fantastic place to live. And it is growing. We are attracting more people, so obviously that affects affordability and stuff like that. So get in while the getting's good.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.